All right. Hey, welcome to everybody. We're glad to have you all on board tonight, all of our Yatsters. Oh, we have a good video chat for you tonight. I'm Bob Walker, and tonight we're going to introduce you to some other members of the crew of Ticks back in the golden days. Here, for one, is Skinny Tommy Cheney. Welcome, Skinny.
Only did that for a laugh. Hello, Bob.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, Skinny's up in Nashville, man, riding his horses.
Yeah, no. I don't even see him anymore, but it's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Good to have you here. And second here, we got Marty with the party. Hi, Marty.
Hey, Bob. Hi, Skinny.
Oh,
I have to let everybody know that Marty is the voice of the horses at Pimlico. Whenever you see one of the races from Pimlico, when you hear the voice on the PA system, there he is, Marty with the party.
Can I add something to that?
Go right ahead.
He is considered probably, because I follow horse racing pretty closely and I read all these blogs and all. He's probably considered one of the top 5 race callers in the country, and I think that's great because it's a very difficult thing to do.
Hey, Marty! All right.
Not bad considering there's only 6 employed right now. So
That's not true. He got,
all right.
His call the Freak. It's got great reviews.
Look who else we got. Look who else we got in the bag here. We got Blair on the air.
Oh,
Yep, the stand-in for ZZ Top.
Can I
it goes a little ways, yeah.
Can I also say something about Blair?
Yeah.
I don't
Go
have
ahead.
anything to say about him. I don't have anything. I can't think of anything good.
Tomorrow I cut my grass, Skinny.
I thought I did it last week.
Good to see everybody.
Good to
Yeah.
see you.
This is
Good
the
to see you.
first time we've been together since about a few years ago at the Comeback Inn. We got
Oh, that was
together.
good. I remember that. That place still open?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They
That
were
was
one of
good.
the first ones that opened up after the virus came
That
along.
was very good. It was very good.
I can taste the stuffed artichoke right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get it. You can't get a stuffed artichoke in Maryland. Let me tell you.
No.
Yeah, you can get crab cakes, very good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, for $99 a piece. Yeah, sure. Everything's got a price, my friend.
So,
No.
Well, you ought to be able to get pretty many boiled crabs up there. I mean,
Steam
Maryland.
crabs. They steam them up here.
Steam?
Yeah. Steam. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, they don't have any of that Cajun spice?
no, that's
They
Old
ship
Bay,
in-
all the Old Bay, huh?
Ship in some Louisiana crabs and then steam them and charge you 5 times as much. They're great. Yeah, that was a comeback in. Yeah, that's right. We were all together. That might have been the last time.
I think it was.
We were
Yeah.
all 4 of us together.
Yeah.
I think maybe your brother might have been there. Somebody else was there.
Yeah,
we had
probably
a bunch of us. You know?
Mhm.
I think this is it right here. 4 of us.
Don
Yeah.
Kelly. Don Kelly.
It was.
Yeah.
Don Kelly, he was at one of them, but I think we got together like in 2009. I've got a picture of it, and
Yeah.
I think Don Kelly came to the second. We've done 2 at the Comeback Inn, but they are good, and they do have good artichokes and good roast beef poor boys too.
The food I had that day was great. It's a good.
Y'all making me hungry. Y'all making me hungry now.
So, anyway, I'm going to start us off. We got a lot of stories tonight, but I'm gonna start y'all off with one here. Somehow we all gravitate around Nick Bazoo. God bless him and rest his soul. But he was such a great guy and fun to poke at, you know. Well, anyway, Bazoo used to use the phone to call up his competition over at WNOE when he was doing the nighttime show. And when the DJ over there would answer the phone, he'd say, "You suck, you suck," and he'd hang up. And a few minutes later, he'd call up and say, "You suck, and he'd hang up. Well, one night, he put on one of those 9-minute cuts, and he got in his car. Now, our studio was in the 300 block of Carondelet Street, and they were 2 blocks off a canal right in the French Quarter. And he got in his car and he went over there and he jumped out of his car and he pressed the intercom by the front door. And the DJ said, "Who is it?" And Nick says, "You suck." That's one of my favorite Nick stories.
I didn't know that Nick story. I didn't know that one. I know that he used to do something on tape and speed it up and play it down the line when they answered, and then they recorded it and they slowed it down. They got him dead to rights. His voice doing whatever he was saying. I don't think it was "you suck." It was a little more than that.
Yeah, and I was answering y'all's phone. That was back in like '76. That was I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember.
Nick was great. Yeah, he hired me for my first full-time job at WKKY in Pascagoula, Moss Point.
Mm-hmm.
First time full-time radio job. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when he first got the nighttime gig at WTIX? He demanded that Bob Mitchell have a big orange ball.
I hated that lamp.
Yeah, a lamp above him so he could turn off the main light and just get into the mood. And everybody hated it. We tried to find ways to make the light bulb blow up when it pulled down the chain, but we never could do it.
Oh, I called it part of an elephant's anatomy, and I wanted to know why he wanted one hanging over his head and things like that. But it was the ugliest thing in the world. He said it got him in the mood. I go, I don't know what mood you want in, but this is just, it was horrible. It was horrible. I remember it well. My favorite Nick stories, though, involve fire extinguishers. We would wait for him to open the mic, and in the back of the studio, you will recall, were fire extinguishers. Well, we'd hit it, and the white smoke would come out, but it would also make this wonderful noise. Well, one day, I guess the fire inspector comes in or somebody, and they're all empty. And poor Bazooka was the one that had to take them to get refilled because they blamed him. But he never. All he was the victim. Of course, we all approached and said, "Hey, no, we'll do it." No, we didn't. We laughed and just.
Well, they had the one right by the bathroom by the water fountain, the old one that actually had water in it that you had to turn upside down. Mm-hmm. And one night, because when Bauer was doing overnights, he waited for Bazoo. We put on "Stairway to Heaven" or one of the long songs, and Bazoo ran around and had to take care of business sitting down. But he couldn't get the door closed, so he was sitting there. And Bauer comes running out, grabs the thing, and he goes, "Don't say anything." Grabs the thing, kicks open the door, turns out the light, and sprays him down. And Nick's in there screaming, "Bauer, you're an," and just, I mean, you could hear the water hitting him. Bauer says, like, "Well, you better leave because he's going to blame you." So I took off, and he come out. He was soaked to the skin.
Oh. Now, speaking of that bathroom, and I think this was you, Bob Walker, when the urinal was broken, so they put a sign on it, and it was broken that if you flushed it, the water would really splash out far. And of course, somebody removed the sign right before "Let's Talk It Over." Mm-hmm. All the politicians would go in there, and I forgot who it was. Came out, but he was one of these,
Moon Landrew. It was Moon Landrew. It was.
He came out, and the front of him was soaked. It was beautiful. I'm
not going to say his name, but I think it was Toad.
Oh, was it Toad? God bless him. Okay, I won't say his name either. I don't. Yeah, you can say Kim Stevens. That's not his real name.
Yeah. That's true.
But can I let me compliment the older king here? Two things. The other day, he actually had the patience of Job to walk me through how to get on this setup here right now, because I had no clue and still don't. But also, one of the great pranks, I think, in radio lore, period, not just Storrs Broadcasting or New Orleans or whatever, but the founder of Storrs Broadcasting was Todd Storrs. Jump in when I get the names wrong. And there was a beautiful portrait of him in the front lobby, nice looking man, and it was there forever. and his father now ran the company. And I guess he was coming to town, and I was walking one night leaving late, and I looked over, and on this portrait was the best, perfect cotton white goatee, but it was perfect. This just wasn't stuck there. It looked like it belonged there. And I didn't know who did it. Bob Walker did it, but I found out later. But my kudos, because it was done so well. And I laughed. I laughed at that for two reasons. Number one, the powers that be were going to have heart attacks. And two, it was so well done. It had to be so well thought out because it was perfect. It was it was like a barber did it, on a real hair, and he cut it perfectly. It was amazing. I just kudos on that, because that's one of the all-time good ones.
Yeah, George Armstrong, the big shot from Stores Broadcasting in Omaha, whose only job was to go around from station to station. We had 6 stations at the time, and complain about this and that, and then go have a good meal and libations later on, and had a good time. But anyway, he was in town that Monday morning. That goatee just appeared on a Sunday night because the DJ was perfect.
It was perfect.
And so the next morning, here's Bob Mitchell on the air, and he's going to his office for something. And who does he see coming in the front door? George Armstrong. And the picture is right on the wall as soon as you walk in. And he's saying, "Oh, my God." And he just had to distract George or something until they could take the thing down. Oh, yeah.
It's one of the all-time good ones. It was one of the all-time good ones.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole lot of fun in that radio station.
Yeah. Do y'all remember when we played, I forget the name of the promotion, where names were picked out of the phone book, and we had to call them up, a cold call, and say, "Hi, this is so-and-so from WTIX, and which station are you listening to?" Now, people don't want to give out all that stuff. They don't want to hear all that crap. So we had people that I was on a midday slot right about that time, I believe, and we used to all call people in the phone book, and they wouldn't want to have anything to do to us. They'd hang up on us and curse us out and everything. So we said to hell with it. We just started picking names like Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter and all these names in the phone book. I don't know. That's just a memory I had. That
was that the phrase that pays or something like that? Or
I think it was.
Well, yeah, phrase that pays and cash call and all that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was winning is as easy as WTIX. I think that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had to answer the phone that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't say hello. No,
right. Don't say hello, right?
Who in their right mind would do that? Pick up the phone and say, "Winning is easy as WTIX."
I don't know, but I'm going to answer my phone like that for the next month or so.
Oh, Lord. And then there was Todd. Remember Todd Bauer? Teen Angel. And the one song. What was the one song he hated the most? Let's see.
I know. Kung Fu Fighting.
Kung Fu Fighting. and how did the song keep disappearing from the play stack?
He kept breaking it, didn't he?
I know the story only because it may have been on your video at WTIX when you went through the studio one time. That was before I worked there, but he used to. It used to be hide it right somewhere. Somebody used to hide it
in the air conditioning vent.
Yeah,
right.
Mitchell caught on to what he was doing because breaking it, he would find pieces of the record on the floor the next day when he came in to do his show. So Todd said, "I'll fix you." So he put him in the air conditioning vent, and to this day. When I went up to make that video that you see online at a visit back, I really wanted to look in those air conditioned vents, but I had the real estate guy. He was on a rush. He said, "I can only give you 10 minutes to go around." So I had to go around and take pictures of everybody everything pretty quick. But I'm sure there are still copies of Kung Fu Fighting in the air conditioning duct tape.
Not if Todd ever goes back.
Well, that's where they hid Jim Stewart's duck over WYAT. Remember that? Because Noel, once we moved to Causeway Boulevard, Noel went in there with a phone company, pulled stuff out there, and he went into the ceiling and took down a couple of the ceiling tiles and found the duck up there. I don't know who hid it up there. I think Bruce Kramer might have done it, because Bruce was over there for a short time. You know,
somebody who didn't like duck, that's for sure. And you know, Noel still has it to this day. Noel and Cindy.
Yeah, I think I do.
They do. She sent me a picture of it not too long ago, and it's got written on it, Stewart's duck. He was a character. I wonder whatever happened to Jim Stewart. I keep hearing that he moved to Texas, but that's as far as it goes.
He was my favorite as a kid in high school.
Yeah,
and then I met him. Very, very, very nice man. Very nice man.
You know, as much as we talk about competition amongst radio stations, you know, back then, I mean, I remember, you know, off air and off times, a lot of the jocks from the different stations would actually get together, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Friends. So it wasn't like we hated each other or was, you know, we're trying to pull pranks on each other 24 hours a day. But yeah, it was so different at the time, even because it was local competition. You know, you knew the other people by first name basis. You know?
Oh, absolutely. And when you were on the air, you wanted to take food out of their children's mouths, but when they're off the air, they were your friends. You know, when you're in competition with them, you really wanted to beat them. I mean, they wanted to beat you, but at nighttime, everybody was kind of friendly. I mean, you know, you still have some of those friends from when, you know, we came back as top 40, you know, as we called them. Remember the pros from Louisville, because they were just going to kick our asses. And they were very good. They were very good. And I told one of their guys the other day, and I won't say his name because he probably wouldn't want to, but I told him, I said, here's the problem. Y'all are really good, and y'all could say Chapatulas. We could spell it. And you know what I mean? And so that worked. And but they were good people. I mean, Don Anthony left and went over there, and I think that just made the guys on WTIX just come together so much until they brought in some idiot consultant and pissed off everybody. I won't mention any names there. He's dead.
Yeah. Well, Buzz Bennett was over there too, and C.C. Courtney.
Well, no, I was in the record business when Buzzy was over there. He was a trip. He was really he's brilliant, but a trip.
Yes, he was. So what were you saying now about Tommy Shaw from Styx?
Well, I ran into him, and we were talking about the A&M party out at the Corchester after a concert when Styx, after they broke. This was after Come Sail Away, and we brought him out there, and I saw him. This has had to be, oh my goodness, it was 6 years ago at least at a dinner thing, and I went up to him and said, "Hey, work for A&M, blah blah blah." He goes, "Oh yeah, New Orleans, that party that night, that was wild. We got into a cake fight." I said, "Oh yes, you did. You got into a cake fight because we had cakes made STYX, you know, and boom, they started throwing them."
Say hello to the cat.
You don't know what I want to say, but I'm not gonna. Well,
He just made off with the head. Come here, give me my headphones back.
Yeah. Do you have your emergency Band-Aid kit available?
I remember seeing Tommy Shaw going across the parking lot and just like, where am I? Where am I?
Oh, they were a trip. They were a trip. They're still out, except they don't have Dennis DeYoung anymore. But then one of the I never could pronounce the brothers' names. One of them died, but they're still out touring, doing good business, from what I understand. Oh, well, before all this pandemic stuff, they were out touring. I don't know. Nobody's out there working right now.
My brief stint there at WTIX was like Journey, Styx, and Foreigner. That was the Journey, Styx, Foreigner. Journey, Styx, Foreigner. That was the nighttime staple we play, and we broke, and Queen we broke a lot. Like We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions. I'll never forget the first time we played that song, and then you answer the phones, and for the next hour, it was like, "Will you play We Will Rock You? Will you play?" That was crazy.
At least you were there to answer the phones. That doesn't happen anymore.
Right, exactly. And then we would do the music jam, which some people may remember. And
I don't.
Blair, Blair mentioned that the actual production was done by Bruce Kramer, and the first 2 or 3 seconds was Lorelei by Styx sped up 5 or 10 times, and maybe double track WTIX Music Jam, and we would play, say, like "Come Sail Away" by Styx, and then maybe like a album cut from Styx, which on AM radio at the time was, that was different, especially 7 to Midnight. So we play a hit and an album track basically.
We used to, at 11 o'clock, used to do the album hour. We would feature an album, because what we would do was we would physically tape the whole thing and then go back and splice it all together, so there was hardly any dead time between the cuts, and we'd run the whole thing.
Yeah, which was unusual for AM radio at the time.
Somebody on Facebook, let's see, Joy Fontanelle Herdes.
Hey, Joy.
She was wondering if anybody remembers the request line. We all know the request line, but what was the number?
504-561-0021.
It wasn't something 690. It wasn't something 690 when they did that there. 260. Oh, that was.
I thought it was 561-0021, but that could be hallucinated.
I don't remember it.
I can remember the office number was 561-0001.
Okay, maybe that was the office number then.
Yeah, because we would have people call us, because we had a news line, plus we had the hotline that rang in the newsroom and in the studio. But if we wanted to talk to somebody at night, we'd tell them to call up the station, and we didn't give out the the hotline, because that was just like supposed to be for employees. And we'd give them the 561
00001,
because it would ring. But if you called 1, it was what they call the trunk line, and would just rotate over to the next available.
Let's call it now and see what happens.
Joy Fontanelle says she says love the album hour. Did we do an album hour? Or was
that's what I was talking about. 11 o'clock. Yeah.
For a while there, we played was it both sides, Blair? I thought it was just one side.
No, I think we did both sides. I think we did both sides.
Okay. Yeah.
I think what we did was we did the first side, and then when we flipped it, they did commercials and everything else.
You're right.
I mean, back in the day, those one side of an album might have lasted 20 minutes, if that.
Plus at the time, say Fleetwood Mac's album, I mean, every song was a hit anyway, pretty much, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Somebody told me that Bob Mitchell was playing Led Zeppelin on his morning show.
Well, I remember, day parting the records heavily, like 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You would play certain types of records, and then after 3 and after 7, of course, we'd go deeper. And I remember him, or at least maybe Terry Young told me he played Kashmir on his by Led Zeppelin one morning on his morning show. He may not remember it. It may be a false story, but it's a good story. But yeah, back then the records, I don't know how it was, Skinny, in the early 70s. I mean, were there day parts? Like, in other words, you couldn't play a certain record?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You had a record not after 3 or not before 3 or after 7 p.m., things like that.
Deemed too heavy or too rock and roll or too much soul or too radical.
I don't think we ever had too much soul. I don't think there was ever too much soul, but too much, today the truth, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We had a stack of cartridges that music was on, and those were nighttime only, and that would be your Led Zeppelin or ZZ Top, and whoever. Moody Blues, whoever was heavy, they played those mostly. That was Michael Green's era.
But I mean, I fell in love with the early 70s records, listening to Skinny with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Oh,
you know,
I put that on my Spotify list the other day.
mm-hmm. And the Spinners. Listening before I even worked there. I used to listen. So yeah.
As I recall, both of y'all used to call me on the request line. As I recall.
Yeah, we used to hang up on you too.
Yeah.
So that means you were a punk then too.
Yes, sir. I was a punk.
By the way, somebody here, let's see, they didn't put their name in, just says Facebook user. They say, Skinny, you look great.
God bless them. They're a liar, but God bless them.
Yeah, you just had a birthday a few days ago, huh, Skinny?
I did. Yes, I did. September the 17th, I got to spend it in Ascension St. Thomas West Hospital, Nashville, Tennessee. It was quite an affair.
And Marty, you have some pictures from the old days too.
Where do you want to start?
Wow.
No, wait. Well, there's
the clean ones. The clean ones.
Oh, you mean like the beach party?
Oh, I got some of those too.
This is from. This is actually from Fred Magazine, the magazine I believe I wound up working for, and this is the crew. Most of the crew in front of at the beach party. That's Kim. That's Toad in the front.
Yeah. Very young too.
Blair's getting a little close there to.
I think I was trying to lick something. I'm not quite sure what they were.
Yeah. So that's that. The beach party was a big promotion.
We had three of them. We had three of those.
Mm-hmm.
Because that one that you showed the picture of was the second one. Because I was around for all three of them. The first one was, I want to say 78. Because that was the Dolly Parton lookalike contest. And if I'm not mistaken, we had Louisiana's LaRue, because they had just come out with New Orleans Ladies, and Mitchell swung it with a record rep to get them to play for free. if would play the record, so he did, and we had him out there. And then the second one, I couldn't tell you who played, but I know it was Black Diamond at the drummer. Remember the little kid named Eddie, and he was hyper like Jeff McKay, and I can't remember who the main band was, but the third one was another bikini contest, and it was TQ and the Top Cats with Black Diamond, and that one, the police said we had like 7,000 people out there for that, and when we tried to do the fourth one the following year, because it was on Highway 90 at Courthouse Road, right there on the beach, because they had the pier that went off into the Gulf that you could drive out to, and the stage would be pointing east. And we used to do the second year. We had just gotten the van from Coca-Cola, and it was still white. We didn't even have the paint job on it, but they had put all the electronic gear in it. And we had the Mosley RPU for the transmitter, and we were shooting back to the station because they were going from the beach to Hancock Bank, and they had a repeater up there, and then went and shot downtown. That was Oscar's baby. So we were broadcasting live down there. And then we went to do the fourth one, and the Gulfport City Council shot us down and wouldn't give us a permit to do it, because all the businesses up and down Highway 90 got real pissed because of the traffic jams. There was an all-day traffic jam that Saturday that we had.
Yeah.
And they lost business.
Yeah.
So it was. We got a big turnout for those things out there.
Yeah, you mentioned the picked van. How about our story with Kim Toad in the parade?
Well, it was actually his wife, Alicia, because we would always do a lot of the parade progress reports from the van, and in order to get that, you would have to call the captain. You had track down a captain of a parade to find out who he was, and then call him up and then beg to let us in the parade. And all the radio stations back at the time were doing that. And I want to say it started in like around 81 or so with us. And we did that. It was a crew of Pontchartrain when they were still out in New Orleans East. And I remember this like it was yesterday because I was always the one that got stuck with driving the van. So it was Walker, and everybody remembers Renee Nato, and also Kim Stevens, Alicia, and I were up in the front when driving. So we had all kind. We were giving away records and had some different things, and we had bottles of adult beverages in the back. I think it was Diet Michelob, and they were having a few here and there in the back, and we make the parade route. Well, at the very end, I've got to tear down the antenna on the front, and I'm up on the roof of the van trying to pull the Aggie down. So I'm up there unscrewing everything. Well, the cops walk up to the front of the van, start banging on the window. Alicia rolls down the window. Cops goes, "Move the truck or you're all going to jail." Well, she panics. So she jumps in the driver's seat, throws it in drive, and stomps it. Well, I'm still on the roof. I'm grabbing onto the antenna mount. I'm holding on and screaming for bloody murder. Walker was in, or Renee were in, they had a rolling chair. Well, this thing goes rolling out the back, and I think it fell into the street. And y'all were holding on to the side, of the back door on the side. Well, the first street she comes to, she freaks out. Well, she takes a right, and she takes the curb with her. So we had the dualies in the back, so the back tires hit that curb. Everything starts bouncing around, falling out the back.
Of the federal government at their disposal.
Wait a minute.
That
Hooray!
outcome was
The cat's gone wild.
What I thought was the biggest meeting.
Was that caused by the truck or something else? Are we living this truck deal?
Oh, excuse me a second.
And the cat's controlling the remote.
The cat was standing on top of the sound bar, and he just walked across it and hit the mute button.
And
But getting back, cut it out, get out of there.
this cat is something you want, right?
Oh, this was bad. But I mean, the bottles we were going driving through the neighborhood, and the bottles are rolling out of the back of the truck, breaking in the middle of the street.
Oh,
Get out of there.
Oh,
But yeah, it was.
It's like a
That was
cartoon.
one. We used to have. Go ahead.
Here's a
That was
WT.
it.
Here's the van.
yeah, that
There's
was
Bob.
that bad old van.
Bob's got the Budweiser in his hand.
Yeah, that would
I
be. Let's
I
see.
got the Dixie.
That's Blair
Yeah.
starting on the left. That's Blair.
Yeah, you got a
Marty,
Dixie.
Kim Toad, Bobby B, and Pal
Pal
Al,
Al.
and me
You.
along with the beer can.
That was
Actually,
popular.
actually, Blair had a beer can too, so we were kind of like bookends.
But that was
I
at the
somehow
record store.
somehow have like four of these. I don't know how, but this is a very popular picture. It's like one of 10 million prints somehow. I don't know. I looked through all pictures and I have many prints of that.
How
That
about
was-
the
this-
story when
That's the van with different color van, right? Of the van.
Yep.
That was
Marty.
the second one.
How about
Yeah.
the when we were in the van in the Bacchus parade and
Oh.
Kim Toad jumped off to go to the Burger King?
Yeah, we were in the CBD. I think we had just passed. We were on St. Charles Avenue, and we had just passed Poydras, and he jumped out because we were going real slow, and everybody was hungry because we had started at like 5 o'clock, and it was like 8 o'clock, and everybody's like, "Well, get us something to eat." And he jumped out and got inside, got burgers, and then hopped back out, got back in the street, and he's running, full steam down the middle of St. Charles. Well, they had the barricades on either side, right at the curb. So everybody had to be behind the barricades. Well, here comes Kim all by himself with an armful of Burger King bags, and all of a sudden here come the cops, and they nab him up and pull him off to the side. They all were standing on the back of the van screaming, "He's with us! He's with us!" So they let him go back into the crowd, and they had to come running down the sidewalk, and finally found a place where they didn't have any police, and he jumped into the truck real quick. And he was like, I thought he was going to die of a heart attack. He was out of breath, but he got us the hamburgers. And I remember for one of the ones for Bacchus, Dave, you got to remember this one too, because it was you and I that were riding in it, and R&O was in front of us.
You think I remember this stuff?
Oh, I know. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I think you do, because Dave Nichols, brother Dave, was driving their van,
Brother Dave Nichols.
Dave Nichols, right? Because it was before he went up to Baton Rouge. And we were sitting there. I don't know if they had a breakdown or they were just waiting for the parade to bunch back up or whatever. But us three were sitting outside talking. We're out there for like 10 minutes or so. And then Costello comes out. He waddles up. And it was in like March, so it was still cold. And he's got a full-length jacket on. And he's sitting there. And he's digging into his jacket and he's stuffing his mouth, just like doing this, And then Brother Dave's sitting there going, Joseph, what are you doing? Not nothing. He kept doing it. He slapped the ever-living crap out of him to find out what it was. Costello had a bag of Oreos stuck in his jacket, and he was sitting there stuffing his face with Oreos. And Dave just turns around, and just backhand him. And I'm sitting there going, Jesus God, do it. And he was the owner of the station. Going, I don't believe that. But, yeah, we used to do all kinds of crazy things with that band.
It's can't hard to see, but this is just, we used to bring it everywhere. I think it might have been City Park for some reason. There might have been I don't know, I have no idea for what reason it was, but yeah, right? the van has many stories.
Yeah, what happened with it? It started out with just no paint job, and that's when we got it in '79. Then they sent it to California Customs on the West Bank, and for whatever reason, they painted it jet black, gloss black, with the call letters in silver, and no Mr. Pibb logo anywhere to be found on it. And Bill Engel lost it. I remember that day. He wanted to know who authorized the paint job. So we turned around, and it had to be October because we were on the air calling it the Halloween machine.
Blame Bazoo.
That's it. I think Bazoo had already left because Dave was.
I know, but you can still blame him. You can still blame him.
That's true too. Yeah. But then they turned around and they stuck it back in the shop and sent it back to California Customs, and they gave it the Mr. Pibb color scheme, which was Mr. Pibb in maroon, and the rest of the van. Can I say it, Walker? We call it baby shit brown.
Okay, there it is.
But that's the color it was, And then they changed it to Dr. Pepper a few years later. But it was a great. I mean, we used to take it out to the Jazz Fest all the time.
Wasn't that the thing we put in wheels on? What was the name of that publication?
Wheels on Wheels.
World of Wheels.
News on Wheels.
No, World of Wheels. World of Wheels was at the River Gate, and then
no. I mean the book that you can
News on Wheels. News on Wheels.
Yeah. We had a contest for finally after we were finished with it. God bless it. For
oh no, that was the denim machine that you were talking about.
Denim machine, yeah.
Denim machine.
And we gave that away to listeners, and a week later it appeared in News and on Wheels. They were selling it. It was so gaudy.
Gaudy. Plus, I wasn't around for that, but I heard that it was they had run it into the ground. It was on its last legs.
Can you imagine that?
So it gave away the van. So it was a promotional item. Afterwards. Yeah.
So what do you remember, Skinny? Give us a thought or two.
I just remember how much, you don't realize it at the time. To look back on it now, how much fun we had.
Yes.
How much fun. And I remember, back to the fire extinguishers, there was one more story. Poor old Bazoo, somebody set one off. It was one of those powder ones, the yellow powder.
Uh-huh.
And it stayed. And it was everywhere. And I guess they brought in some kind of team to clean it, but that's pretty much it. I got locked out of the station one night. That story, I remember many years later, you told me, you said, please tell me the truth about that night. And I wouldn't then, and I'm not going to now. But I actually got locked out with Papa Was a Rolling Stone. I had something to get downstairs, to be very honest. And I remember when they had the big security thing and nobody had a key and you had to have a bell and, and blah, blah, blah. And I hit the elevator and I thought I'd fix the door with the lock to where it wouldn't close. And I hit the elevator button and I heard click and I went, uh-oh. And so about 20 minutes later, Otto came up and let me in and I had to tell the truth of I gave the story I gave, and of course it was true.
How many people here work Mardi Gras Day?
I did.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Everybody?
Well, yeah, I worked. I worked last time I worked. Actually worked it. It was '85 with Tom Land, because everybody else was gone. I think Walker was over at 106. Skinny, you might have been over there too at that time.
I worked. I didn't mind working
Yeah.
Mardi Gras. I didn't mind
Yeah.
working as long as you got a good. You had to walk a little further to park, and then you had to, get out fast. But I kind of liked working on Mardi Gras.
I have a confession to make. I remember falling asleep on Mardi Gras Day.
I got a story I shouldn't tell.
I mean, I went out that morning. I believe we were on the West Bank, and well, it was Mardi Gras. You do what you do on Mardi Gras. Well, it had its effect. I just remember waking up. I don't know. It may have only been a minute, 2 minutes, or I don't know. But nobody called. The hotline never rang, so I don't.
That's like
Mardi Gras.
it's like
they
out in Fat
expect
City. On Fat City, all that partying we did out there,
Oh,
with Eric Miller. But it's. Oh, go ahead, Skinny.
Speaking of parties in Fat City, I remember one night I was on the air, getting off at 7:00, and I think it was Warner Brothers was having a party at the Court Jester for either I don't remember what the group was, but whoever it was John Michael Provenzano was the promotion guy, and I think Don McGregor was going to be there, and a lot of people, and a lot of other radio people. One of those deals you really wanted to go to, and so I was getting ready to go, and it started like at 7, so I was getting cleaned up. Well, I wanted to change fully. So I was running back and forth between records, shaving in the bathroom and running, doing this, doing that, and let's just say I wasn't fully clothed, nothing. And strange, about 6:45, Otto decides to bring some new client in to show him. And there I am on the control board in my birthday suit, so to speak. And we kept that between us, I think. But that's one of the times. But I made it to the party.
And the client said, as the person I want to do my voiceovers, right?
I don't know. You kind of go, hello.
Now, speaking of locking yourself out, and Dave, you should remember this, but I did it when I was working overnight. So a little after 4:00, I played Lion Eyes, and y'all remember Cavino's down in the French Quarter, don't you?
I don't.
They used to deliver. Well, they used to deliver pizzas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you ever got hungry and a guy answered the phone,
Now that you say pizza, it'd ring a bell.
Right. So I mean, Kim Stevens was the one that told me about it, and he was like going, yeah, if you see the closet door open, the prize closet open, he says, get them a couple of albums and they'll trade you a pizza for some albums and T-shirts. Well, I was hungry one night, so I said, I'm going to get me a pizza. I called up, and I had like 3 albums for them and everything. Well, they would go downstairs, and they would call from the Western Union. So the guy calls and said, yeah, my driver's down there. So I go down. I got Lion Eyes playing. I go downstairs, and I get the pizza and come back upstairs. The door is locked behind me up on the 4th floor. Well, and like Skinny was saying, all we had were keys to the very front door down on the 1st floor. The only people that had it was like Mitchell, Engel, the GM, and Oscar and the engineers. So I'm sitting here trying to get in. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So my wallet's in the control room. All I've got is a set of keys on me and a quarter. So I get the elevator and run back downstairs real quick. Well, the guy's already gone. So I'm sitting here going, oh, what am I going to do? So at the time on Barone and Poydras, they had a Shell station. So I drive over there and I get on the payphone and I call Barry Barone, who's the assistant engineer. He answers the phone. I'm like, Barry, I locked myself out. He's like, I said, no. He goes, I'm going back to bed. I said, don't. I said, they got nothing on. All they got on is Carrier. I said, the song's over with, And he goes, I said, I got to wake Mitchell up at 4:45. I got 20 minutes to get down here. I'll be down in about an hour. I'm sitting there going, oh, Jesus Christ. So I said, well, get down here as quick as you can. So I drive back to the station, go back upstairs. And by this time, I'm sitting at the front door and I can hear all the office phones ringing. Down the hall, I can hear the newsroom phone ringing. And I'm thinking, you better get down here. Well, 4:45 comes, and I got nothing. There's no Barry Barone. I'm still locked outside with an empty pizza box. So I'm like, geez, about 5:15, I start hearing little taps. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell is this? And I had put the elevator back down on the first floor so he could just get in and come straight up. So I keep hearing these little taps. So I go out into the stairwell, and they had glass windows from the fourth floor all the way down. Well, I just kind of walk out on the ledge and I look down, and they've got NOPD units all over the place with their lights going. So I'm sitting there going, what happened downstairs? So I walk all the way down. While I get to that last flight, I turn around. Oh, they got like 6 cops out there, and all they see me, and they pull their guns, and they're beating on me, going, put your hands up, put your hands up. I'm like, going, whoa, what's that I work here? And they go, put your hands up. So then I'll let them in, and they frisk me and everything. And I said, I locked myself out. Goes, well, something happened to the disc jockey. I said, it's me. I said, I went to get a pizza, and I locked the door. I said, I couldn't get in. And right about that time, Barry pulls up, and he pulls up and blocks the cops in. Well, they go outside and give him a ratchet crap going, who are you? Who are you? He goes, I'm the one that's got to let this a-hole back in the station. I'm sitting going, Jesus Christ. So it's about 20 after 5. So the first thing I do is I call Mitchell, and I wake him up. And I'm already 35 minutes late waking him up. As I told him, I said, sorry, I'm late, but I locked myself out the station. He goes, oh, okay, don't worry about it. I'm already up. I'll see you when I get there. And hung up. Because I swear I thought I had worked my last shift, because I'm going to tell him. I said I locked myself out giving out records to get a free pizza. And the first phone call
Better excuse than I had.
I know. But the very first phone call I answered was Marty, and you were working at GSO, not GSO, but at QUE at the time. Mm-hmm. Because I remember answering the phone and you going, are you okay? Because we were roommates at the time. Because we shared an apartment. And he said, are you okay? What? And I told him what happened. And I started thinking, I'm like going, well, wait a minute. How did you find out? And he said somebody at the newsroom at GSO heard it come over the police scanner that something happened to the disc jockey at 332 Corona Lynch Street. And I said, well, wait a minute, that's WTIX. And they asked me, I'm like, oh, what name? So then I start clearing the lines, and I think one of them might have been Larry Hamilton or somebody, and or Kathy, but I sat there, and one of them I answered was the guy had promised before I went downstairs. I told the guy I was going to play a song after the Eagles, and he goes, I kept waiting for the song, and it was on cartridge, so it didn't have the toop, 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 toop. It was just nothing. It was just, as we call it was nothing but carry. It was the signal, the transmitter. So the guy goes, I didn't hear it for about 10 minutes, so I got worried, and I called the cops. So I had a listener call the cops on me because they thought something had actually happened to me.
Well, I mean, it goes to show you that people actually listen, at the time.
Yeah,
a lot of listeners. And, not to flip back to the beach party, but just to explain to people, Bob, you would know that the scope of the TIX signal was basically New Orleans and all the way over the Florida Panhandle. Is that correct?
Pretty much from Houston to that area anyway, all the way to Panama City.
Yeah,
all the way to Panama City.
During the day, it was like Oblong from Louisiana, Texas line to about Panama City. Then at night, it was a quarter of a pie due south and due east. Because I know at night we used to get calls from Tarpon Springs, Florida.
Right,
and that's right there by Tampa Bay. And then on Sunday nights when they used to do the maintenance on the transmitter, they used to crank it up to day power, and we used to knock WAPE, the Big Ape, in Jacksonville off the air, because I remember they always used to complain about that.
What do y'all listen to today?
Zach Neal.
That's the right answer. I don't know
it's my favorite.
Well,
he's on Spotify.
You won this cup.
Oh, good. I want the hat.
You want a hat? I get your hat. I get your hat.
I bet you nobody that's watching this knows what Skinny is doing these days. Go ahead, promote yourself, Skinny.
Well, I work for the Irv Woolsey Company, which is a talent management firm here in Nashville. But my one project as a kid named Zach Neal. And if you're in the San Marcos, Texas area this weekend, he'll be playing in that area. Or if you're a Spotify person or Amazon person or an Apple Music person or now an Apple Radio person, we have a current single called Something in the Stars. Go check it out. It is on Spotify, again, Apple and Amazon. Nice. It's a good song written by Billy Burnett and Sean Kemp. Quick story about that. I saw Sean Kemp at a George Strait show a few years back in Louisville, and I went up to him and said, hey, we cut this song, blah, blah, blah. I said, the producer told me, geez, the song came out nice. How high were they when they wrote it? And I looked up and said, were you high? He just kind of went, man, were we high? It was great. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. It'll be my last project. Probably. He's a great kid. Check it out. I'm sure you'll like it. And that's basically what I'm doing. You know, we're kind of slowed down due to the pandemic, but we're slowly coming back. Like I said, we have a few shows in Texas this weekend and next weekend, and we'll take it from there and see where it goes.
Is he ever going to be down in New Orleans anytime soon?
I'll let you know when he is, but no, we don't.
Well,
have
just don't do it in New Orleans. Do it out in Jefferson Parish.
Well, that's right. Well, we're just going to, we're doing all acoustic dates right now, and we have a couple of band dates, and he's very good. You're really enjoying. People like him when they sing. And,
when he comes down here, bring George Strait with him.
Yeah, right. I got that power. No. But,
yeah, look, I said what Ray Fisher said, if the elevator and stairwell could talk. Yeah, you're right. That's right.
Well, I always said, speaking of, getting along with other radio stations, I always thought over on Bienville Street, we had that third floor. If that third floor could talk, there'd be a lot of people in jail.
That's what I've heard.
I won't mention any names, but Don Anthony and, and well, there's a whole lot of them. And
there was never anything on the third floor, was it?
There was some couches.
Oh, but I mean, it was vacant for the most part, though.
Oh yeah, well, it was just an empty floor, but it had. Let's just say it had furniture. I was told. I never saw it. I didn't work there.
Well, Lord. Well, Marty, you got any other pictures?
I got a bunch of them, but I don't know how many people would be interested. Talk about like fun and Skinny. You can relate to this with record promotion. I found, when we played "Cold as Ice" by Foreigner, and basically, one of the stations, I guess, I would assume in the nation to break it. They were. I still have this picture here. They sent us a block of ice.
Oh, that was out in front of Carondelet Street.
Yeah. Thanks for Cold as Ice. It's just something silly, but I mean,
Skipper Dell, the guy that worked for Atlantic, I think it was Skip Dell. He did that. It was about 5 feet high.
Right, and we left it out there with the Foreigner logo or whatever that was on it, or train, whatever it was, and obviously it was great promotion for people walk by and thanks for Cold as Ice, and here's a block of ice, and it was there for a while. I don't know how hot it was that day. But
what the hell do you do with a block of ice at a radio station in the CBD?
But to me, that was fun. That was the fun part of playing, records and relating to people and taking requests and things like that. And there'll be nobody to answer phones now, ladies and gentlemen, if you call.
One of the best days I had at TIX, most fun, was when Joe Kelly was the GM. And it was April Fool's Day, and the disc jockeys all went on strike, supposedly.
Yeah,
and everybody had to call in their friends to be the jocks and all that. That was a great day, because I remember Roy and Vic LaRocca, who owned the Colchester Lounge, came in, and they were funny. Oh, they were funny.
They were. Well, I guess our time's about up.
Cool. Real quick, and I had something. We never mentioned Joe Collada.
Oh yeah,
but I mean, I had to work back in the early days. I'd always ask Mitch, because he had me on overnight from midnight to 4, and then they used to have the public service days from the Longhorn Radio Network, a couple of the Jesus guys, and then 8 o'clock Collada would come on.
Yeah.
So whoever, and I had a 12-hour shift from midnight to noon. So I was always complaining. I wanted to get off and do noon to 6. So one day he did that to me, and he says, "All right, you do that shift, but you got to come in at 6 in the morning and still do Joe Colada." But it was fun because back when Dutch Morial was mayor, he'd always come in there, and the first thing he would do because you'd go down and let him in, they'd call you from Western Union, and they'd come up. First thing he would do would be break into the prize cabinet, and he'd be in there with all his guys with the Uzis and stuff because he had his security detail with him of like 10 other people, and then straight to the thing. So he'd go in there and just basically clean out the prize cabinet. Joe's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll talk to George Armstrong." And I said, "I got to answer to Mitchell. He's going to want to know where they all went." That's what I would tell him. Dutch took it. Yeah, just tell him that. I'll take care of it and everything. But it was funny because when he ended his program, we were on about a 10-second delay because the way they had it hooked up, they had it on one of the Ampex machines, the reel-to-reel, and they had the heads backwards, in order for it to work. So Colada would do his exit, the 3 things you can never compromise: your God, your principles, and something else. Joe Colada, well, let's talk it over. Well, Kim Stevens was on at 12, and he's got the door to the control room wide open, and Joe was in the big production room. That's where he would do all his shows at. So he comes walking out. I'm in the studio with Kim, and he's got the headphones on, the monitor cranked up, and Toad's sitting here talking along to the extra, going, 3 things you can never compromise: your WAPA, your POP ticket, and your bus token. George Colada for let's F him over. And at the door was standing Colada. He heard the whole thing. Kim didn't even see him. And I thought Colada was going to have a heart attack and drop dead on the spot. I didn't know what to do to piss in my pants.
I've never heard that story.
Yeah. The 3 things you can never compromise: your WAPA, your POP ticket, and your bus token.
That's really funny.
I'll leave that at that.
All right, guys. We're about out of gas here for the night.
Yeah,
anyway,
we should be.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob, for inviting me. Blair, always good to talk to you. Get off my lawn. And David, it's about time you called everybody with a winner. It's about a $50 winner here, huh?
I can give you horses. I'll call them in front for you, even if they don't win, just for $50.
We did that one day. I was at the OTB in Covington, and we were playing the ponies out in California, I think. I was trying to get him on Facebook. Couldn't answer.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Bob, very much, gentlemen. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Bob. Good to see you, Bob.
Skinny.
Yeah, we'll do it again sometime.
Thank you.
Dude, yeah. I got plenty of more pictures that people don't want to see.
I want to see them first.
You want approval, huh?
Yeah, I was listening to Skinny talk, and I heard Dave on
Mr. Skinny.
Mr. Skinny.